What's up, guys? This is DJ with Art of Visuals. Today we are here with Nick. So he's going to be teaching us all about making that switch from digital to film. So take it away, man.
What am I supposed to say?
Can you tell us what somebody needs to know when they're first starting out?
I'd say probably start off with 35mm film. It's an easier transition. It makes shooting a lot easier than just jumping straight to medium format, which is a whole nother beast in itself.
Where do you think the best place to grab like a 35mm camera is?
I was lucky enough to find it in my dad's closet, but I think eBay is probably a good place to get it, or a local camera store if you have one. Doesn't have to be too expensive. A cheap camera will work perfectly fine for 35mm. I think the biggest and most important thing about shooting film from digital is to be a lot more patient with film, both in shooting on the streets or just shooting whatever subject you're shooting, and with the results, because you're not going to be able to see it right away.
So about how many rolls of film did you go through before you got shots that you were super stoked on?
Definitely went through at least 3 or 4 rolls, and I think that's probably the norm, like 2, 3, 4, multiple rolls before you start getting your footing and start really liking what you're creating and having something even usable. Choosing the film that you're gonna shoot with, making sure you have something that you're gonna be happy with when you get the results. Even if the photos aren't great, at least you know you're heading in the right direction.
For sure. So what do you do to plan for being in the right place at the right time?
It's kind of hard to plan for it. Sometimes it comes unexpectedly. I just like to go to spots that I am comfortable shooting in and that I've shot in before, to where I kind of know where I can shoot in that area and like what kind of subjects I'll get and activity. But also it's good to be out of your comfort zone, so I'll mix up a little bit of both. So when I'm out shooting, I'll try to scout out the location. If the light's not right or the location doesn't look exactly how I want to, I'll mark it down, maybe with some notes, and try to come back at a later date when I think it's better to shoot.
The biggest question that I've heard around shooting with film is properly exposing your shots. People aren't necessarily sure how to expose. So how do you expose your shots?
I put a lot of my trust just into the light meters in my camera. Nowadays, I'm starting to kind of do it by memory with the scene, and I pretty much, if I look at a scene, I pretty much know what an adequate exposure would be like. But also the great thing about film is it has so much latitude and dynamic range that if you mess up a little bit on the exposure, if it's not perfect, you still get a really great shot.
So what do you think the biggest advice for somebody who is just like making the switch from digital to film would be?
I think just getting out there and shooting as much as you can, shooting subjects that you enjoy shooting, anything that catches your eye, I think you should try taking a photo of it. And I think the more you do that, the more you find your style, the more you find your place. So obviously these are just my tips and tricks about switching from digital film photography. Do whatever you feel is necessary, but just get out there and start shooting.
Make sure you guys stay tuned next week for another episode of AOV to the Point.